we have to solve this word problem. Joan wins $50,000. She decides to invest all of the money into 3 stock funds. At the end of 1 year, she earns 6% interest on stock fund A, 7% interest on stock fund B, and 9% interest on stock fund C. Her total interest for the entire year was $3,450. If the amount of money that she invested in stock fund B is $5,000 more than the amount invested in stock fund C, how much money did Joan invest in each of the funds? So, what we need to do is set up 3 equations in 3 variables. First of all, the first equation is just total money. Don't even think about interest. We're going to let A be the amount of money that she puts into stock fund A, B is the amount of money she puts in B, and C is the amount of money she will put into stock fund C. And we know that the total of this amount of money, meaning if we add these values together, has to add up to the total of $50,000. So our first equation is pretty easy. 1A plus 1B plus 1C is equal to 50,000. Pretty straightforward. Now, the second equation will involve our interest. It's all about interest. It's the amount of interest for A, the amount of interest for B, the amount of interest for C has to equal her total interest. Well, how do we find out how much money she earned on Fund A? Well, we simply take its interest rate, 6%, and multiply that times A. Now keep in mind that when you're doing any kind of application problem, never ever plug a percentage into a problem, always change it to a decimal. So 0.06 times A will tell us how much money she earns from Fund A. Similarly, 0.07 times B plus 0.09 times C will tell us how much money she earns from B and C. And the total earnings for that 1 year has to add up to $3,450. Now, we do have a problem. We have 3 different variables. In order to find a solution for 3 variables, we have to also have 3 equations. You need 1 equation for every variable. So far, I've only got 2 equations. The third equation is going to come right here. The amount of money invested in Fund B is $5,000 more than the amount of money invested in Fund C. Now, what represents the amount of money that she invested into Fund B? Believe it or not, that's simply the letter B. It's not 0.07B. 0.07 times B would be the interest, but we're not talking about interest, we're talking about how much money she invested. So the amount of the investment in Fund B is, we know that is means equals, 5,000 more than, that's addition, the amount of money invested in Fund C. So here's our setup. We now have 3 equations with 3 different variables. Now, there are a couple of different techniques we could use to solve this. I'm going to go with the traditional technique for solving 3 equations and 3 variables, but one of the things I'm going to want to do is rewrite my third equation so that my B and C are both on the left side and the 5,000 will be on the right. I'm going to go ahead and rewrite my equations up here. A plus B plus C is equal to 50,000. 0.06A plus 0.07B plus 0.09C is equal to 3,450. And then my third equation becomes simply B minus C is equal to 5,000. To solve a 3 by 3 system of equations, what we really want to do is create a system of 2 equations in 2 variables. So what I need to do is combine my first two equations. And notice that if I can make the A's cancel out in my first two equations, I've already got one equation that has B and C. So if I cancel the A's in my first two equations, I will have a second equation in terms of only B and C, and that will give me a system of equations that I can solve, a 2x2 system. So in order to solve this equation, in order to cancel my A's, what I want to do is I want to multiply my top equation by negative 0.06. Why negative 0.06? Notice negative 0.06a and positive 0.06a. When I add my equations together, the A's will cancel. So taking my top equation and multiplying by negative 0.06 gives me negative 0.06a minus 0.06b minus 0.06c, and that will be equal to a total of 3,000. Negative 3,000. When I combine that with my second equation, 0.06a plus 0.07b plus 0.09c equal to 3,450. Again, my A's will cancel. Negative 0.06b plus 0.07b gives me a positive 0.01b. And negative 0.06c plus 0.09c gives me 0.03c. And that is equal to $450. So we have this equation together with our third equation, which said that B minus C is equal to 5,000. And we're going to add these two equations together. First, we have to multiply to ensure that we do cancel one variable. And notice that my C is already negative, so probably the easiest thing to do here would be to multiply the second equation by 0.03. So our first equation is still 0.01b plus 0.03c is equal to 450. Our second equation will now be 0.03b minus 0.03c is equal to 150. And that will give us 0.04b, the c's cancel, is equal to 600. Now I divide both sides by 0.04, and I'm going to get that b is equal to $15,000. Okay. Now, we have a value for B, we still need values for A and C. So we go back to our three equations here. I'm going to start with this one. If B is 15,000, and I know that B is equal to C plus 5,000, I can simply solve that for C and subtract 5,000 from both sides of the equation. And I get that C is 10,000. And then lastly, to find out how much money was put into Fund A, I will take the equation A plus B plus C is equal to 50,000. I will fill in 15,000 for B and 10,000 for C. And if I solve that equation, I will get that A plus 25,000 is equal to 50,000. And if I subtract 25,000 from both sides, I get that A is equal to $25,000. So we've been able to figure out that Joan put $25,000 into Fund A, 15,000 into Fund B, and 10,000 into Fund C.